Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. So great to have everybody joining us here today. Um, Welcome to this What's New webinar. You will notice that you're on mute to eliminate any background noise, as this is a webinar format training, but you can still engage with our group. We have the Q&A box open and active. If you have any questions, we'll probably not be answering them throughout the presentation. However, we're going to make sure that we address all questions before the end of the session today. It's going to be a little fast paced. There's quite a bit to get through here today. We want to try and make sure we're in and out of here before the 30 minutes here is through. However, there is going to be a recording. So we are recording this, and I'm going to send it out to all of the attendees so that you have access to it and you can kind of go through it and comb through it a little bit more carefully when the time is ready. So in terms of content to be covered, we're going to be diving into, oh, sorry, this is me. I'm Arthur. I'm a client success associate here at Reach. And I work with, our awesome clients, generally our accountants and bookkeepers and advisors. Help them to use Reach to the fullest and help them to help their clients make the most sense out of their financials so that businesses can just thrive in today's world. So I'm just going to jump to here. So in terms of agenda today, we're going to be diving into some new and exciting things that Reach Reporting can do. Over the past few months, we've rolled out some powerful features and improvements that are designed to make your report smarter and workflows faster and just make your client experience even better. And so I do want to point out that this is kind of a level 2 advanced webinar. And so we're going to kind of assume some basic knowledge and understanding of Reach reporting functions. If you would like to take part in our more introductory level training, it's called Reach Reporting Foundations. This runs every Tuesday and Thursday. Also note that we have a forecasting webinar on Fridays, and we also have a top tips webinar that happens every Wednesday. So if you go to reachreporting.com/webinars, you can have access to all the webinars that we have that are available. And so definitely encourage you to check those out. And we're going to be hopefully adding more here in the near future. For today, however, as mentioned, we're exploring today's latest tools to show you how to take full advantage of what's possible. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, you're going to come away with some new ideas to elevate your reporting game. So enough about that. I'm just going to click out of here and jump into Reach. So we're going to jump right into this, and I'm going to jump into a feature that it's kind of new and up, kind of hot off the presses here just a couple days ago. You may have already known about 5 months ago, Reach reporting completely shook the accounting world with our AI-generated reports and dashboards. Our traditional templates have always been very generic in terms of looking at numbers that are almost every template can work for almost any other business, right? Your income, you're looking at COGS, you're looking at your profit margins, looking at some basic, quantitative KPIs. However, now with a single click, we can actually allow you to use AI to analyze your data. Now, that's not new. That's about 5 months old. What is new and what is just hot off the presses is we have a new template for that. So I'm going to walk through a quick demonstration just to show you the new template, but also if you haven't had a chance to see our new AI enhanced reporting, you're going to get a little a visit of that as well. So whether you're in a report or a dashboard, you're going to click on the add report. And instead of the templates or creating custom, we now have this additional option, which is AI generated. And so if I click on that, you'll see there's a few options. First and foremost, we can do actuals versus budget or forecast. So we'll keep it on actuals just for now. Next, you have the option to choose the profit loss, the balance sheet and cash flow statement, and then your date range. It can be monthly, quarterly, or what we have right now is year to date. So those are the 3 different options that we have there. We'll keep it on last month or monthly and include the 3 statements. I'm going to click next. It's going to give us a list of the different report designs that we have. So we have our space, which is the brand new one that I'm going to quickly demonstrate now. We also have light, bold. All of them have just a little bit of a different feel. One of the things you're going to find is that generally you're going to get similar results depending on, regardless of which one you choose. It's more just kind of look and feel that you're going for here. And however, I just want to quickly point out you can also switch to landscape, and I do have one that I pre-built so that you can see that as well. But when I click create, you can see that it's going to take a quick, like less than a minute to kind of create a report here for us. It's looking at the account structure, it's looking at variances, it's looking at trends, and the AI is actually determining what it should build in this report based on the data that's coming out of the bookkeeping. And so it's kind of fun to kind of see what the AI thinks is important to show. And when I click open on here, you're going to see this kind of populate and pop open. Let's go through here, and I'm just going to highlight some of the things that AI has produced. So first off, even the title, Comprehensive Financial Report, that was kind of created by AI. Scrolling in here, you can kind of see we already have a logo and a company name already preset. And all of this, by the way, acts just like traditional Reach, right? So once it's built, what we're automating, or what the AI is doing, is it's automating the build and the creation of the report. At that point, you still have the ability to come in here and tweak it to your needs, adding pages and whatnot. But if I scroll through here a little bit further, the names of the pages are created by AI, so you can kind of see a quick update here on the table of contents. And these tables are completely created with the AI, showing you some things that it feels relate or are important to kind of take a look at. And so you can see some of our graphs and stuff that this has been created. Notice here that we're actually getting down to beyond just the main income and gross profit and so forth. We're looking at sales. What are the things driving these sales? In this case, it's a hardware software company. You can see some of the different key things there. COGS breakdown and so forth, expense analysis. And so it's got some kind of fun in here, and this again is very specific to this company. Generally, if you save this as a template, it's not really going to work for any other company, which is kind of fun because it makes it very, very specific to your needs and important to what your clients might be looking for. So lots of kind of fun stuff in here. The colors have all been generated. So in this, you can see we have some colors, red and green. That's all created based on whatever color of logo in your theme you have set up. So if you change that, it's going to also change throughout the report, as you probably already know. But again, if I wanted to change any of this, I can click on the edit menu, go into the back end, and say, for example, I wanted to turn this into a column chart. I can kind of play with this. Maybe let's invert the rows to columns. Looks a little bit neat that way. And we click Save and Close. And now it's just a little bit more visual to what we might be looking for. So kind of fun stuff to play with and explore. Just going to jump into to show you the same thing as a horizontal view here, or landscape view. It's populating here now. The pages are landscape, okay? And again, you're going to see the same thing, but a little bit different, right? So in this exact report, we got 4 metrics that are going to be designed. If you're ever wondering why this is showing what it's showing, it's going to give you a little bit of an explanation in here as well. This was generated by the AI as well to kind of explore what's going on. Okay, you can see it's a little bit of a different output, but again, a lot of the similar content. Okay, this can also be done in a dashboard. Just going to jump into one of our dashboards here. You can see this was one that was built before, showing a lot of the same kind of concepts throughout. And this is actually going to segue into the next update that I wanted to show you. So for a long time, you've been able to export an entire report or dashboard to Excel, but it came with kind of a small limitation. It was merely exporting out the back-end table into Excel, and this would not generate any of the graphical representations. Well, now with our newest update, you can actually export an entire dashboard to Excel, complete with your charts, your visualizations, and really enabling you to kind of take it offline and maybe play and dig into the data just using Excel. And maybe, whether it be yourself or your clients, that might be valuable. So in order to do that, I'm going to scroll to the top here, and you're going to see that little export to Excel button. I'm going to click on that. We're going to choose to export everything in this opportunity here. Just going to get rid of that guy. And I'm going to pull in what you can see here. All right, and so what you can see here is it's created a similar example, right, in Excel. Now the colors aren't going to match exactly because we're kind of limited to what Excel can offer. However, there's our table at the top. This is the back end of this metric, and here's our output, right? Very similar. Now, all of the metrics are going to come in as tabs along the bottom. So I can kind of flick through and look at all of these different metrics. Okay. And as well, anytime you play with these numbers, it's going to automatically show here. So let's say, for example, we're going to look at total hardware sales, which would be the purple lines. Okay. And let's look at January. Let's look at the most recent 25. And let's just take this from 7 million and let's change it to, whoops, sorry. I'm just going to add a 0 here. Let's call it 70 million. When I click open on it, notice how it'll automatically, it's like it's actually connected here. So it's kind of fun, and this will, potentially be a good tool that you can use down the road if that's something that you or your client are interested in using Excel, or you prefer playing in Excel, but you like the automation and the the automatic updating and the design features in Reach. So hopefully that can help you with a few different things. Okay, next we're going to jump into another feature. This is kind of more on workspace management. So I'm going to jump into our dashboards. And when you click Add Dashboard at the top, notice that you always have the ability to choose from template. I'm actually going to jump into another company that's a little bit more designed for this. All right, so, and I'm going to do a report. So I'm going to click Add Report from Template. And one of the options is always, of course, you can pull from the Reach reporting templates. However, if you save your own kind of firm-wide templates or your own templates, they're going to be stored underneath My Templates. And you're likely aware that you have the ability to save this. And when you save them, you can save them either to yourself so that only you see them, or you can actually save them to the entire workspace. And sometimes someone might be sharing something to their entire workspace, right? Maybe that one guy on your team that just always shares everything to the entire workspace. And what'll happen is this library here starts to grow and grow and grow. Well, there's a few things you can kind of do. First off, you can say, let's just look at the ones that I've created. Okay, makes it really, really simple. However, you might find that you actually don't want your whole team looking at this specific one. See, this one here was built by Ethan. If I click on here, you can see he's shared it to every single person. So first off, you can always hide it, right? And everybody has the ability to hide it. But what you can actually do, even another step further, is you can actually change it. If you are the workspace owner, you can change it to user only. And so this can really be helpful if you're working with somebody that maybe has shared a little too many templates. You don't want everybody to have access to them. You click user only and it's going to remove. And now it's no longer going to be in anybody's template library. And so you don't have to worry about it populating in or it's not even going to be hidden. It's actually going to be completely gone. It's still going to be on theirs, but you don't have to worry about it populating on yours or other people's. So that can kind of be fun. Next thing I'm going to jump into, we're going to switch gears just a little bit. Oh, before I jump out of there, if you go into Reach Templates, we're always updating our templates. There's more coming. It almost seems like every month they have new ones coming. If you ever want a quick, like, hey, what's new? What's coming up in Reach? If you're just like, hey, just wondering, what the new templates look like, just click on this little filter here and you're going to see the most recent templates that have been added. Okay, like I said, switching gears just a smidge, and we're going to jump into a new piece of automation that makes creating statements or statements or metrics by class or department much quicker and easier. So I'm just going to jump into a standard report, and I'm actually just going to jump in just a blank custom one for demonstration purposes. In the past, when you wanted to create a report by class, you'd have to add the statement, and let's just do create new. We're going to do year to date and click add. You needed to go into this edit screen and you needed to say, okay, let's duplicate. You can still do this, by the way, as you're going to see. You can then filter each one of the columns by its unique class, and it's going to give you a nice report showing your financial statement in this case by department or class or location, whatever it is you're using to kind of filter out there. So that's kind of a quick way of doing it in the past. Now we have the ability to do a little bit differently. So I'm going to click Add Manage, Create New, And in this case, we have this additional option down here. So we're going to say, let's do the same thing year to date, but let's add classes department option. Okay, and what it's going to allow me to do is pre-select all of those classes. And when I do that, it's now going to just help me skip that step. It's now created it by class for me. So really, really quick and efficient that way. You can still go into the edit side and say, for example, you wanted to have another column. Of course, you can add that column singly if you wanted to have just a single one that isn't filtered by class. And as well, on this screen, you can also add that classes or department option. Say we wanted to do them by monthly. Instead, included with the year to date, you can add another 3 columns that way. Remember that whatever you do, you create, it's created once in Reach, and you don't have to worry about recreating it each month. It's going to be available for you exactly as you create it, and it's just going to resync every single month. If you're doing a consolidation, those little filters at the top where we chose to filter by class or by location, department, you'll be able to filter by company as well. So this is also available in the consolidations to show up by company. Okay, so we're moving on very, very quickly here. I do have one more update, and actually maybe even a bonus one if we do have time. But this next one's a little bit more advanced, specifically relating to working with budgets in Budgets Pro. So for a while now, if you recall, I'm just going to jump into a budget so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. You have your 3-way planning where you can connect your P&L, your balance sheet, your cash flow statement. We can kind of make it 4-way planning, if you will, where you can add non-financial data. So as an example, we're looking at total sales by predicting how many salespeople we're going to have over a certain period and how much each salesperson is going to sell, and therefore using math, we can kind of predict what the projected new sales are going to be and so forth. So that's been something that we've been able to do for a really long time now. One of the newest updates that we've had is we now have the ability to add or connect an external data sheet to this budget-specific data sheet. And you've always been able to kind of do it with Google Sheets and Excel, and that's always been kind of powerful, right? Maybe you want to bring in the number of salespeople from Google Sheets, just because maybe somebody else is adding that, or maybe just maybe there's a lot of data and you want to use Google Sheets or Excel to bring that in. Well, now have Reach Reporting's data sheets. We have the ability to pull those into a budget to help facilitate more comprehensive financial analysis and decision making and so forth. So why would you want to do that, you might ask? And I want to kind of show you a couple examples of where this could be helpful. So I'm going to click cancel here, and I'm going to jump into a couple data sheets that I've prepared for this demonstration so you can kind of see what that looks like. So with a data sheet, how is a data sheet more powerful than using Google Sheets or Excel? One of the key ways or reasons why somebody might use a data sheet versus using Google Sheets or Excel for some of this data is the data sheet's ability to draw data back into the data sheet, live data from like the bookkeeping or wherever you're kind of playing. So as an example of this, let's say you're created a KPI that you've been tracking, and we're going to go through this first example here together. And say that KPI that you've been tracking is your income per employee, right? So here's our KPI. We have our total income that we've had over the last 12 months. Okay, notice this is 2022, and we're planning for 2023 in this case. So we have our total income over the last 12 months. We have our number of employees that we've been keeping track of over the last 12 months. This line here, total income, that's one example of where the data sheets is going to be kind of a step ahead of doing it in Google Sheets or Excel, because that data, that total income, that's coming directly from the bookkeeping, from QuickBooks or Xero or wherever. I don't have to type this in or anything. It's just there available for me to use in calculations. Whereas in Google Sheets or Excel, you'd have to copy and paste that in. And so here we have our total number of employees. We have our total income. Therefore, we can calculate our income per employee. And then just using a formula, we can come up with what our average income per employee is. So this specific line is what's going to separate using this external data sheet instead of using the data sheets that are already connected to the budgets or the forecast. You don't have the ability to pull in past data into those into that data sheet to use for calculations. So in this specific instance, I've now created my average income per employee for 2022, and fill in the blank for any other type of KPI you might be tracking. Therefore, I can come in here and I can say, what are my predicted number of employees that I plan to have moving forward into 2023? And then using a simple formula, I could say, okay, it's just basically last year's average times the number of employees I have, or maybe you add a 5% or whatever you want, but essentially you've created a new estimate for your revenue per employee. This number now can go directly back into the budget. So if I click create new, oops, sorry, not create new, jump into the one I have. I go to my data sheets, scroll to the bottom, I can click add rows, data sheets. I can go into my budget demo data and I can say, let's look at my predicted estimated revenue from employees. Click save, okay? And now I can go back into here and you choose the time. Let's say sales income, click gear, link to data sheet, scroll to the bottom. There's my revenue from my employees that I have predicted, okay? And you can see now these numbers are very different than what they were. That's now coming from the math coming from that sheet. So kind of one example of how using this external data sheet can be helpful. And I'm just going to show you a couple others just to kind of mention as we go by here. So jumping back into that same data sheet I was playing with, another example is, say, for example, you have a number of accounts that you want to apply an increase to. Well, we all know that in Budgets Pro, you can apply 5% or 6% growth or whatever on the line based off past years. Well, what happens if you want to do a bunch at one time? Maybe you have 4 or 5 different accounts that you want to apply the same increase for, and you're kind of doing some scenario planning. You want to say, what does it look like if it was 5%? What does it look like if it was 6? What if it's 15? Whatever that looks like. Now what you can do is you can pull in those actuals from last year all into these rows here. You obviously have your increase that you can start to play with. And then along the side here, I'm just going to collapse this guy and expand this guy. Now you can see our predicted numbers, again, just using a formula based on whatever that percentage increase is. So if I play with the change with the percentage increase, it's going to change the numbers here. And just like I showed you in the past demo, these numbers can be drawn directly into the budget or the forecast you're creating. So this gives you the ability to affect many rows in one place without having to go row by row and play with the numbers and tweak them. So again, my goal for you guys is to give you something that you can start to contemplate, so spin up some ideas in your mind as to how this might be effective for you. Hopefully this is inspiring something. The other thing that I heard somebody has done is, say you had customers or vendors. Well, we know that with QuickBooks, for example, we can actually pull our summary sales by customer or expense by vendor reports. And so in this case, I have a variety of different customers in this case showing here. Again, this is last year's numbers, and using math, I've just kind of created a calculation based on the total customer revenue for those specific customers. Then, as you might expect, we can then use a formula to predict what that new revenue is going to be by customer or by group of customers to help me predict future revenue numbers. So that was kind of quick. Again, this recording is going to be sent out, and also the Q&A box is open. So if anything's kind of, you have questions, you want to dig deeper in here, please use that Q&A box and we'll dig deeper together. The last one I'm going to show you really quick, it just adds another level, is in the case of our friends that are, that are tracking VAT in the UK, GST, Australia and Canada, wherever it may be. And so in this case, just to add another kind of level of depth to this and take this a little step further, notice here row 2 and 8. These numbers, instead of coming from the bookkeeping, are actually coming from the budget that we had created. So in this case, I've created a budget to predict my total income for 2023, to predict my total expenses for 2023, then using VAT, GST type calculations where somebody is going to essentially as goods and services are being paid for, there's a percentage of tax that's going to be received and paid And so in this concept, that tax has to go somewhere on your balance sheet to kind of sit for its quarterly payments, right? Because it's not actually, coming to you. It's actually just sitting there, and you're sending it to the government every quarter, or however often it is. So in this case, for example, I have the planned income, the planned expenses. We're predicting how much, they're going to have to pay in their taxes, and then to the balance sheet, this line here, this is going to draw into the balance sheet, and then you can even predict in what your quarterly payments are going to be. So then you can start to plan your cash, because that's going to be helpful, to have an idea of what, when those payments are going to be due, to make sure you can pay for them, but also have the ability to essentially plan and look at your cash as those taxes, those VATs, the GST numbers are coming in, and then giving you the ability to use that cash until you have to pay it to the government. So hopefully that helps, and see that there's just that other additional twist here. The additional twist being that you could pull in already budgeted numbers from the budget you're working on and put it in here, and then use that to help you calculate things that are going to go on to the balance sheet or vice versa. Okay, let's just take a quick look here. There's a question here, different topic, but are there dashboard or report templates that are built for rolling 12-month budget or forecast? Are there dashboard or report templates? Yes, so let's quickly take a look at that. And it looks like, Melina, if you have a question, instead of raising your hand, if you don't mind just typing that in the Q&A box, we'll get that answered for you. So let's just quickly show you the template reports. If you click on Add Report from Template, this is dashboards or reports. If you go into our auto forecast, that's going to be a good one for kind of rolling 12-month budget to forecast. So that's a good place to kind of go and look at those types of templates. So if I jump into this one, for example, let me know if this is what you're talking to, Jeff, but I'm just going to scroll to the bottom, this one, and you can see here we have actuals for all the months that have passed. Hopefully you can see this, and then you have budget for the future numbers. So this is an example of the actuals with remaining budget, 12-month budget to forecast. This one's actually on the fiscal year, so it wouldn't be rolling. So let me know if there's, trying to think of how a rolling 12-month budgeting forecasting would look like in the templates. Let me know if there's additional pieces to that question, and I can dig in. Multiple years, 25 to 26. Yeah, so we have a budget. I think I type in three-year projection. Here's the 3-year financial projection one. I think this is the only one we have that will allow you to kind of show, as many years as you want, essentially, into one specific budget. And then this one will allow you to combine those budgets, those forecasts over several years, showing you the different how they vary. And here's 24, 25, 26. Yeah, let me know if this is on track with what you're looking for, Jeff. Any other questions from the group here today? And of course, Jeff, you can ask a follow-up question. And of course, there's also support@reachreporting.com, where you can reach me or any of my colleagues, and we can dig into deeper on any of these other questions that you might have. Yeah, Jeff, the other thing with the rolling 12-month, you might have like 6 months of actuals and 6 months of forecast numbers. And so every single month is just going to continue to always show the 6 past, 6 future. That's something you can do. I don't know if we have any templates that show that today, but I'm happy to take a look and get back to you on that. I'm not sure. But yeah, get back to me offline if that's something you want to dig in deeper with. Okay, guys. Well, hopefully this has been helpful for you. I don't see any other questions coming up, so please, please just reach out to us if there's questions. We have lots of reps on staff just waiting to meet with you guys. So if you want to dig into anything deeper on here, please utilize us. Again, I'm going to send off the recording to this, and we hope that this was valuable, inspired some new ideas. And stay tuned. Next quarter, we're going to do it again with another update showing you kind of the newest, greatest, and latest features that are out. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.